Sports Illustrated lays off most of its staff after AI scandal and money troubles. Its parent company has fired more than 100 employees. It's kind of wild to see that apparently their parent company missed a payment for the rights to use the brand. And now the company is laying off tons of people. They've owned the magazine since 2019, sold the publishing rights. I'm sorry, ABG owned the rights to, they sold the rights to Arena Group, which has amassed substantial debt and missed a recent $3.75 million payment for the rights. And this is the end. You know what, man? It's kind of sad, but also my question is, should we be happy about it, right? Bud Light is on the verge of death. They're saying there's going to be a strike. Potentially in March, there will be no beer because the employees are upset. They want more money. Bud Light can't give them more money because nobody's buying Bud Light. And you know what's really fascinating? We on this show discussed this. The understanding that the cascade failure effect of a major brand. Bud Light may make $1 billion. You stop buying Bud Light, and what happens is the cost per can goes up. So let's start from the very beginning. We have Cast Brew coffee. We sell ground and whole bean coffee. We wanted to sell cans of cold brew. To sell at the volume we can afford, it would cost $5 per can to have a can of Cast Brew cold brew coffee. That no one's going to buy that. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing to like buy a can of coffee for $5. You need to get down to like $2 or $2.20, which means if we were to sell maybe like 2 million cans, then we would make, I don't know, 10 grand off that sale. And that's enough profit generated to cover the cost of all the employees. If we lost $50,000 in sales of 2 million cans, now we are not breaking even anymore. The whole thing just collapses. That's what's happening to Bud Light. When I see Bud Light failing, everybody's cheering. But part of me is like, hey, maybe this is what the woke left wants. Sports Illustrated gets woke, goes broke, and now we're all like, haha, you get what you deserve. For all I know, the woke left is like, we've destroyed a legacy brand. There was a dad who handed a Sports Illustrated to his kid. It's talking about football and his favorite athlete. Like, look, this is when so-and-so first got on the team. It was something I remember. Now it's like, what are you going to remember from your childhood that you're going to be able to hand down? I don't think we should be celebrating these legacy brands getting woke and blowing up. No, because it's like, it's a culture revolution.
This ideology is parasitic and it will destroy whatever it takes over. If it does, it'll infest it, or it'll invade, it'll take over, it'll wear whatever it takes over like a skin suit. And if it destroys it totally, it's fine. It does. It's completely fine with destroying whatever it is that it gets into, whether it be, video games, or whether it be, the sports or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it be religion, the whole liberation theology, all that stuff is all Marxist influence and stuff. It'll get into whatever it is that you're, whatever, institution you're talking about, and then it'll either assimilate it or it'll destroy it.
Everybody's cheering for the destruction of Bud Light because Bud Light did the Dylan Mulvaney thing. And I'm like, okay, totally get it. But understand, I mean, when was Bud Light? Budweiser's been around for a really, really long time. Yep. Someone want to Google when Bud Light came out? I don't think I think we should celebrate when we defeat wokeness, but I think we have to be careful if we celebrate how the woke sabotaged and destroyed.
1982 was Budweiser Light, and then reintroduced 84 as Bud Light.
So I don't care too much about Bud Light and that like it's been around since the 80s. Okay, fine, but with Sports Illustrated and with other publications, I think it would be important for us to recognize if the goal of wokeness in the culture revolution may be, we don't care if we own it or it's destroyed, so long as we own it or it's destroyed.
Exactly, 100%. That is the entire goal of the cultural revolution. They need to take over what the things that Americans come together over. So whether it be Bud Light as a brand, or you look at what they do to Disney. Disney was a wholesome family American brand, and now Disney's reeling with half the country hating Disney and half the country loving Disney, and there's all kinds of strife. That kind of stuff is what this ideology does. It can't do anything but it can't do anything but destroy. The whole thing is called deconstructing.
They got us cheering for the destruction of our institutions.
Yes, well,
that's terrifying.
We should not do that. We should not destroy things, and that's why, like we talked about whether or not we should, like, you know, make room for people that realize that they had, you know, been consumed by bad ideas, with whether it be woke or whatever you want to call it. And you have to make a space for people to come back in. You have to make it okay for people to come back and be like, yeah, I think maybe I was kind of wrong on that stuff. You can't mock them. You can't make fun of them. You can't, you know, be like, no, and shun them and stuff, because it's an illiberal ideology that's infected them. If they want to move beyond that and come back to liberal, principled stances, then we should welcome them.
Yeah, I think one of the goals of this ideology, assume that it's like a communist attempt to disrupt, would be to get half of like your friends to turn on you and be like, no, you're not woke enough, you got to be woke. And then 5 years later they come back and they're like, I'm sorry, but then for you to not forgive them would be a victory for this communist thing. Like, you've got to forgive these people when they realize that they were played.
Yeah,
I think it's weird though how like the AI thing, like how long ago was that story came out? It was a couple months ago.
I don't know anything about it. What is it?
So a bunch of journalists, they were fake journalists, like they'd have fake profile pictures and fake names or whatever, and they were just like, you know, you'd read the article and it would make no sense. They're all AI generated articles. And they'd publish it as if they were real journalists on the site. And then like somebody, you know, ran it through an AI checker and also like could clearly see that these weren't real people and stuff, and, you know, published a piece on it.
This is Sports Illustrated?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then like, I think that was a couple months ago. And then, so it seems in here that like they didn't, you know, pay the licensing fee or whatever. So it's kind of weird how, like, you know, that came right after that, if it was kind of planned, like, to do that, like to take down the brand, or I'm not sure, but it's like certainly weird that those two events, you know, coincided.
Like they couldn't afford to pay writers, so they used AI. Then they couldn't afford to pay licensing, so they just didn't. That's possible that the brand. I never really understood Sports Illustrated as a brand or as a product. And I remember in the 80s and 90s, like it was a magazine about sports, but I had TV at that point. So like watching pictures of a dude like this is in no way exciting.
Unless
watching a guy throw the ball, that's cool.
And you may be sitting in the back of a car or on a plane or a train or waiting in a lobby.
And like it was like
not
reading.
Always about.
It was about reading like sports stats, I guess. But then when the internet came out,
because they would like go and like have journalists like sit down with like the people that were you sit down with coaches and players and owners of teams and all that, all of the inside stuff you were getting with Sports Illustrated. It wasn't just like, hey, these guys beat these guys on this day. You know, it was like all the stuff that goes into it. You know?
And then the internet came out and was like the great leveling, and it just became one of like 1,000 periodicals that do that kind of thing. And I remember the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue was always a big deal. That's like the only time every year anyone would even talk about Sports Illustrated in my crew. We weren't like huge athletes. I think it's inevitable that periodicals, the people that rely on print, I don't know if Sports Illustrated still relies on print or if they have an online subscription model, but these things are all the way of the dodo. They're extinct. They've gone obsolete. And maybe if the power all goes out and we're back to like trading cards in the dark, then maybe books and novels and magazines will become relevant again. But when you can check it all for free on the internet, these things have no place anymore. They need to adapt their business model. It sounds like this company didn't do that.
I don't know if they even, I mean, I assume Sports Illustrated had a website. I mean, I haven't gone to look, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like the online version of the Sports Illustrated stuff that was all, I'm looking at it now. It's Futurism, I think, was the publication. They had like this guy, Drew Ortiz as the author.
No, we like Drew.
I know, right? As the author's biography, it says, Drew has spent much of his life outdoors and is excited to guide you through his never-ending list of the best products to keep you from falling the perils of nature, it read. Nowadays, there is rarely a weekend that goes by where Drew is not out camping, hiking, or just back on his parents' farm. Like all this like random stuff. Yeah.
Because he was not a real person.
Yeah, and like the profile picture is just some like AI generated like person, and these are like the biographies of stuff. And then they reached out and Sports Illustrated deleted like all of the articles and stuff.
We were talking last night about the Galaxy S24.
I'm not going to buy it, by the way.
I bought it.
You did.
I bought it. Well, I want to see what it's all about. I want to see the extent to which reality is being ripped from our faces. Dude, it's going to be crazy. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.